Hey everyone, welcome to First Year Latin by Robert Henle. This is chapter 1. I'm not the biggest fan of this book, but there are a lot of people out there learning Latin using this book. And I know a lot of them could use some help because I get emails from many of them. So I'm starting this series where I will take students through the exercises in Henle Latin. I have a copy here of the book. This is from archive.org. I'll link it down below so you can go get a free PDF copy from archive.org. I love archive.org. And I'll also have with me a series of charts today that we're going to be using throughout this course. And those are free over at my website, dwanethomas.com. I'll link those down below as well. All you got to do is go over to a tab. I'll link it for you. Click on it and the charts are yours. So years ago, I took all of the complicated Latin endings and squeezed them into 4 pages, 4 charts, and you're looking at those here. On the first and the fourth page, you'll find verbs. In the middle, you'll find adjectives and nouns and prepositions and things like that. We're going to go to the nouns on page 2. And then we're going to go back over to Mr. Henle's book. So the first declension is a group of nouns that in Latin typically end with a in the nominative case. Now, I'm going to use some terms that you guys probably already know because you're studying Latin, but in Latin we use the nominative case or the nominative endings to talk about the subject of the sentence. Likely you already know that, so we're going to jump right into the exercise. The vocabulary for this chapter is right here. I'm going to grab a marker, make this a little easier to see. So we have our first word right here, terra terre. Some people will say terra terrae, but we have the first word here. And in exercise 1, Mr. Henle tells us to go through and decline the words in the vocabulary. Remember that they're all like terra. All right, so in Exercise 1, we are supposed to go through the vocabulary for Chapter 1. Have your books open to page 8 if you have it, or you can go to archive.org and look at that page. Here we go. So what we're going to do is take this word here, terra. By the way, this is where we get the English word terrain, territory, extraterrestrial, from outside of our territory, terrestrial, meaning something having to do with earth. Even terracotta, which means baked earth, baked clay. Terracotta is a type of clay that we use to create pots. Anyway, we're going to take this word and we're going to decline it over here. What Mr. Henle means is that we are going to go to this box right here. You can ignore all the other charts you're looking at in front of you. We'll learn them as we go. This is called the first declension. And that F stands for feminine because this is a feminine word. And all the words that we're going to look at today are going to act like this word here, via. Now, some people are going to say via. That's the Italian pronunciation or the ecclesiastical pronunciation. And some people are going to say via. Via is the restored classical pronunciation. I prefer the Italian or ecclesiastical pronunciation. That's what I'm going to stick with. I imitate the New Testament as read by a group of Catholic monks. I'll link that to below so you can find that book. It's a free audio book online, and you can just follow along and imitate their pronunciation. Theirs is the pronunciation I use, and I imitate. There are other pronunciations. No pronunciation is correct, or at least I don't know of any pronunciation that's correct. I was born in England, and I've lived in Maine, Oklahoma, England, Louisiana, New Hampshire, Tennessee, all over the United States, and I still can't identify the correct English pronunciation. So until I have an answer to the correct English pronunciation, I am not going to bother myself with the correct pronunciation of a language that's rarely even spoken anymore. So I will be using the ecclesiastical pronunciation, via. So when I say this word, which is road, and Mr. Henle wants us to put all of our words, add all of these endings to our words here in the vocabulary, I would say via, vie, vie, viam, via, vie, viarum, viis, vias, viis. Now in the classical pronunciation, it's going to sound more like via, viai, viai, viam, via, viai, viarum, we is, we us, we is. And I'm sure the Latin pronunciation police on the internet will attack me for that, but I really don't care. Okay, via means road. All right, via means of the road. Via, of the road. Viam, the road. Via, in the road, on the road. Over here, where on the left we have the singular, and on the right we have all the plurals. So this is road and this is roads. So via, roads, viarum, of the roads, viis, to the roads, vias, the roads, viis, in the roads. And I realize you're just starting out with First Year Latin by Robert Henle, so if you're confused by this, don't worry about it. It's all going to come because you're going to see it so often. You'll get used to this as we go deeper into the book. Okay, Mr. Henle wants us to do the same thing with terra. So what we're going to do is pretend that V is gone and we're going to replace it with T-E-R-R. If you're not familiar with cursive writing, that is an R and that is an R. T-E-R-R. And then we're going to add all the same endings to T-E-R-R. Terra, meaning land or earth. Terre, in classical pronunciation. Terrae. Terrae, or terre. Terre, terram, terra, terre, or terrae, in classical pronunciation. Terrarum, terris, terras, terris. And this means earth. Let's go with earth. It can mean earth, land, territory. Let's go with earth. Earth, of the earth, to the earth, on the earth, the earths. Let's go with lands over here. Lands, of the lands, to the lands, by, with, or from the lands. Okay, what's our next word? Okay, our next word is porta. Porta means door or gate. This is where we get portal. Like in the Chronicles of Narnia, the wardrobe was a portal to another world. It was a door to another world. Okay, so let's pretend V isn't here, or we, and we'll change it to P-O-R-T. Sorry about the bad handwriting. That is porta, porte, porte, portam, porta, porte, portarum, portis, portas, portis. Or in classical pronunciation, porta, portae, portae, portam, porta, portae, porta, portarum, portis, portas, portis. You may be able to hear there's not a remarkable amount of difference between classical pronunciation and ecclesiastical pronunciation. It's similar to English spoken in the United States versus English spoken on the British Isles. English spoken in England, let's say. English speakers from England can understand, usually, English speakers from America, and vice versa. Okay, porta means gate, door or gate. Let's go with gate. Gate, porte, of the gates, to the gates, the gate. In the gate. Let me back up again. I made this one plural and I shouldn't have. So porta is gate, of the gate, to the gate, in the gate, on the gate. The gates, of the gates, to the gates, in the gates. And again, if you don't know what I'm doing here, it'll come. Don't worry about it. The next one is Maria, a name. So we're going to pretend that Via is no longer here and instead we have M-A-R-I. Maria, Mariae, Mariae, Mariam, Maria, Mariae, Mariarum, Mariarum, Maris, Maris, Marias. I'm getting mixed up here. Maris, Marias, Maris. So Mary, of the Mary, to the Mary, by, with, or from the Mary. The Marys, of the Marys, to the Marys, by, with, or from the Marys. Okay, our next word is nauta. Nauta means sailor. This is where we get the word astronaut. Aster in Greek means star. And I think astro in Latin can mean star as well. But anyway, we combine that with naut, which means sailor. And we have an astronaut, a star sailor. Nauta, sailor. Naute, of the sailor. Naute, to the sailor. Nautam, nauta, nautai, nautarum, nautis, nautas, nautis. Let me go through and do this again. Naute, would be the sailor, naute of the sailor, naute to the sailor, nautam the sailor, nauta the sailor, by, with, or from the sailor, naute the of the sailors, nautarum of the sailors, nautis the sailors, to the sailors, nautas the sailors, nautis, by, with, or from the sailors. In classical pronunciation, nauta, nautai, nautai, nautam, nauta, nautai, nautarum, nautis, nautas, nautis. The meaning doesn't change, only the pronunciation changes slightly. Our next word is Victoria. So we would have Victoria, Victoriae, Victoriae, Victoriam, Victoria, Victoriae. Dropped my book. Victoriarum, Victoriis, Victorias, Victoriis. Let me get my book. Okay, and that would be victory, of the victory, to the victory, by, with, or from the victory, the victories, of the victories, to the victories, by, with, or from the victories. Our next word is Silva, which means forest. This is where we get words like Sylvia, the girl's name, Sylvester, the boy from the woods, Pennsylvania, Penn's woods, the woods of William Penn, Transylvania, where Dracula lived, on, I think it's in Romania, on the other side of the forest. Transylvania means beyond the forest. Okay, Silva means forest. Silve, of the forest. Silve, to the forest. Silvam, the forest. Silva, in the forest, by, with, from, or in the forest. Silve, the forests, or the woods. In English we would say the woods. Silvarum, of the woods. Silvis, to the woods. Silvas, the woods. Silvis, by, with, or from the woods. In classical pronunciation, Silwa, Silwe, Silwai, Silwai makes an I sound. Silwa, Silwai, Silwai, Silwam, Silwa, Silwai, Silwarum, Silwis, Silwas, Silwis. One more word Mr. Henle gives us is Gloria. Gloria, and we'll get rid of this. So Gloria, Gloria, Gloriae, Gloriae, Gloriam, Gloria, Gloriae, Gloriarum, Gloriis, Glorias, Gloriis. In classical pronunciation, restored classical pronunciation, Gloria, Gloriae, Gloriae, makes the I sound. Gloriae, Gloriae, Gloriam, Gloria, Gloriae, Gloriarum, Gloriis, Glorias, Gloriis. And this would be glory, of the glory, to the glory, by, with, or from the glories, of the glories, to the glories, by, with, or from the glories. Mr. Henle also wanted us to find the stem in exercise 1 of all of these words. To find the stem of a Latin noun, what you do is drop the genitive ending. And by the way, we have genitive written over here. So if we slide right across, this is our genitive ending here. And if you drop the genitive singular, you'll find the stem, basically the root word, but we call it the stem in Latin. Here we find the stem. So the stem of via or via, for example, is vi, which is why, by the way, I have this light line here between the stem and the endings. So if we go to Mr. Henle's book, here we have terra, terre. So here's the genitive ending right here. So if we drop the genitive singular, we'll end up with the stem, which is ter. Porta, porte, the stem is port. Maria, mariae, the stem is Marie. Nauta, naute, the stem is naut. Victoria, victoriae, the stem is victori. Silva, silvae, the stem is silv. Gloria, gloriae, the stem is glory. And that's it for exercise 1. Okay, if you're stumped on anything in Mr. Henle's book, it can be quite a challenging book. Feel free to email me or contact me or just comment below. I make a lot of videos to help students get through these complicated concepts in Latin. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.